Am I being foolish? I don't think so. And yet, I've only known him for a couple of weeks. Of course, that could be infatuation. But I am a grown-up, and I know the difference between love and infatuation. Oh, all I know is I haven't felt this way for a long time.
And you like it?
I like it.
Hi, Editing Maggie popping in here just to give a content warning that this episode will deal with issues of sexual assault and consent and things of that nature. Other than that, I hope that you enjoy the episode. Hello everyone, welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are huge Star Trek nerds. Dory's a Star Trek novice, and we are taking her on our first journey through Star Trek The Next Generation. This week we'll be talking about the Season 4 episode The Host, original air date May 11th, 1991. And as always, we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay, so we start off with Dr. C doing a personal log, which is nice. Mm-hmm. She began an analysis of the respiratory problems being experienced on the beta moon of Peliar Zel. And that she finally got an actual letter from Wesley. Hey, Wes. It's been a minute.
It's been a slice.
He's topped the class in exobiology.
Also,
the whole
he's still
class?
alive.
He topped the whole class?
I know. That's what I said.
Good for him.
It's like, wow, Wes, you have been busy.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But he's still struggling in ancient philosophies. Mm. But also, there's someone new in her life. Cut to an incredibly terrible close-up of her making out with someone.
Yeah.
It was just a very weird cut. Yeah. So this is Ambassador Odan. He's got very nice hair. I'll give him that. No, he's fine. So they're making out in the turbo lift, and
and he's an alien. That's important to point out.
Okay, well, like later. Don't worry about that yet.
I mean, you can kind of see it the second that he's on screen.
Oh yes, he's got like ridges on his forehead, kind of like arched.
Yeah, that was certainly a choice.
Yeah. As most Star Trek aliens do, he has ridged forehead.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Data comes in and he wants to talk about some kind of technology or whatever, and it'll only take 2 hours. And then Dr. C's like, oh, Data, listen, we can't because we need to, like, analyze this other stuff. And Data's like, oh, but that's perfect because, like, that goes with exactly what I want to talk to you guys about. And then he's like, oh, then Odan's like, oh, like, I have a headache or whatever. And Dr. C's like, I have to see to this headache. I'm so sorry, Data. We'll like circle back, but I gotta go deal with this headache.
And then she deals with that headache.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Odan then goes to his room, and then he opens up his shirt, and there's something bobbing around in his stomach. In which I wrote, "Oh no, he's expecting trouble."
Oh no, that was terrible. That was absolutely terrible.
Listen, do you expect anything less from me at this point?
It's true. I can only expect trouble.
Yeah. They met 10 days ago, and Odan's first impression of Dr. C, this is the quote. It's so cringy. He goes, "This woman is ice, through to her bones. Who would have ever guessed that instead of ice, there is fire?" I just wrote gross. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He says this to her. It's like, Christ, we get it. You like her. You're into her. We get it.
To be honest, it's like...
It's not bad.
It's cringy. I think that it's kind of hot. He doesn't deliver it very well.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, agreed.
If someone else had sent... Like, I know Jonathan Frakes would have made this line hot.
Yes.
Like,
yes, definitely.
Like, Riker would have... Riker would have delivered that line way better.
Yeah, basically so then a rep from the planet comes on the ship. It's Governor Leica Troyan. So that the planet is
remember.
Pelinar Zell, and then there's two moons. There's the Alpha Moon, which is farther out, and the Beta Moon, which is like between Alpha Moon and the main planet. So Odan has been brought to like figure out an agreement, basically, because basically Alpha Moon's trying to commit low-key genocide of Beta Moon.
Yeah. Well, they
And
make
they're like arguing about it.
because they make a global warming allegory that goes nowhere.
Yeah,
Yes.
so basically, the Alpha Moon has found a way to tap directly into the magnetic field of the planet and rely exclusively on that energy force. But the Beta Moon is fucking in between it and is suffering environmental damage as a result. And they will experience the beginning of global warming and profound medical repercussions. But Alpha will not stop, even though Beta Moon is like, you're fucking killing us.
Yeah.
But Alpha Moon's like, but our energy, thanks.
Yeah.
So they need to have like basically a discussion. For some reason, like, how is this a discussion? Fucking stop. Will it hurt you to stop? No.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, technically, it would hurt them to stop because they've built all their energy systems around this. So it's like,
Okay, well then do something else. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
solution
no,
is. We don't even know what the solution is.
no, because I agree that it's like, well, you have to find fucking something else to do now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, the solution is fucking stop
Yeah.
and figure something else out.
Yeah, so the leaders from Alpha and Beta Moons, they're going to meet with Odan, but Odan is like, oh, yeah, I do not beam me down. I don't like that shit. I'd like to take a shuttle. And for a second, I thought they were going in the, like, almost conspiracy, like, route of not the episode conspiracy, but, like, oh gosh, is he like someone who doesn't believe in certain sciences or something? Is this the twist of like, oh, he's like doesn't believe in turbo, whatever, like all this other shit? But nope, that's not the fucking twist. Oh yeah, so then Troy and Picard have like a very quick scene, which is honestly kind of useless. Troy's just like, oh, I'm feeling fluctuations of emotions from Odan. And I'm like, okay, great, thanks. Okay, now we're at the salon.
Yeah.
Okay. I first wrote, I'm sorry, there's a salon.
Yep.
But then I remembered we actually have technically been in there already when somebody got a haircut. I don't remember who.
Oh,
but somebody got a
yeah.
haircut.
I think it was Geordi getting a haircut and Data came in to insult him. Because he was trying playful ribbing.
Yes. But I did not know it was like an actual salon.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh, it's someone cutting someone's hair. But nope, this is a fucking spa for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Well,
because
every mall needs a salon.
That's true. That's true. You got me there. Because who do we see in the salon? Dr. C getting her toes spray painted red.
Yeah.
And with one hand in some gross, like, green Jello gel shit. I don't know. And the amount of time she takes to, like, think that she's, like, wiping her hands with trying to get it out of there is so funny.
Yeah.
It's, like, the whole fucking scene.
Yeah.
It's so good.
She also just spends a lot of time with her hand, like, just floating there covered in goo. Like,
Yeah,
like she takes
it's
a long
pretty
time
great.
before she even starts wiping it off.
Let's be fair. The 90s had a very strange idea of what, like, beauty regimens should be. And when they looked into the future of it, they definitely thought it was going to be way grosser than it's become.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then Troy comes in and, Troy is gagged to see Dr. C there. Because Dr. C, she's got, like, a mask on. And, she's, just having a nice some me time. And Troy's like, it's nice that you are treating yourselves, especially since you haven't done so in so long. Because you're in love. And I was like, I'm sorry. Did we not make it clear 5 seconds ago they met 10 days ago? What is this, a fucking Disney movie?
Yes.
Christ.
Star Trek is very much like that when it comes to romance.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. I did think about it a little bit, and I do realize that I suppose because they do live in more like life and death situations, that maybe they're like running on, well, listen, we got to do this now because we don't know. We could be attacked by the Romulans tomorrow. So they're YOLOing it, I guess.
It has
I
more
don't-
to do with the fact that they only have 43 minutes to fall in love.
Yeah. I think it's more of like a like sort of a this juvenile idea of like, you know, when you're first in a relationship and stuff, and like the
Love goggles.
feelings are really intense and all that thing. So it's just like they just call any sort of like romantic feelings love.
Well, it's funny because then I think it's in this scene actually. They talk like Dr. C talks about like, oh, I don't know if this is infatuation or love, but I don't think it's infatuation, so it's probably love. And I'm like, Dr. C, what the fuck? Okay, this is honestly like a very awkwardly written scene though. So like, also Troy's wig is a little wonky.
A lot of this episode is pretty awkward if we're being truthful.
Yeah.
And I do like when they get to have like their friendship moments. I do like that a lot, but it does feel like they really only talk if it's romance related, which is kind of a
Yeah.
bummer. But
Are you saying it doesn't pass the Bechdel test?
yes. So Troy senses something from Odan and asks Dr. C how well she knows him, in which Dr. C replies, I feel I know him better than I've ever known, and I've known anyone in my life. And then I wrote Jack Crusher rolls in his grave.
Yeah.
Yeah, rest in pieces, Jack.
Oh God, poor Jack. And then like Dr. C basically, as I said before, she talks herself into kind of like a circle. She's like, is this love or infatuation? Who knows? Who cares? She likes it. Okay, so then Picard calls Odan in to like talk about his plan. But then Odan's like, it's cool. I'll just like see what the vibe is and wing it. But
Yeah.
also I'll kind of prepare ahead of time a little bit. I'll get as much research and then, you know, just what's the vibe down there? It's cool. And he's like, oh yeah, like your crew has also been like super helpful, especially for Dr. Beverly. He calls her
Yeah.
Dr. Beverly this entire episode. And it's,
It's a little endearing, but also kind of annoying.
yeah, I don't love it. But listen, I don't hate. Okay, anyways.
Odan's cute.
So then he's fine.
Yeah.
The
Here's
hair,
the thing.
I do like his hair
yeah.
in this. Anyways, okay.
I find the whole situation cringy, but they seem like they're having fun, so whatever.
That's
Like,
why
yes,
it's cute.
Yes. Yes. Like, I don't mind their relationship. Like, I think it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Except where it goes to, then
Yeah.
we'll get to it when we get to it. Okay. So Odan goes, your Dr. Beverly is ... an extraordinary person, both as a scientist and then I shouted at my computer, as a woman, and then he said, as a woman. There we go. So then it's not Dr. B, then Picard, his face was incredible because you could see he was pissed.
Yeah.
He was not happy to hear that Dr. Beverly has been spending some time with Odan. And Picard goes, yes, I'm sure that's true. Well, shall we make our way to the shuttle bay? And then goes, Captain, you know her better than I. Do you have any idea how committed she is to remaining with Starfleet? And Picard's just like, I wouldn't presume to speak for her. Like, he is pissed. And
Yeah.
I love it.
He's mega
because-
jelly. Like,
Yes, he is as jelly as that green stuff.
yeah.
The Dr. C had her fingers in. Okay, so Riker is going to pilot the shuttle to bring Odan to the planet or wherever to have their meeting. So Dr. C meets them at the shuttle to say goodbye, and Odan gives her a flower and a kiss on the hand, which is cute.
Well, he
and
gives her
then-
like it
Oh, it's on
makes,
the inside of the wrist.
yeah.
I think.
It makes sense later, but he gives her like a tiny rosebud, and I'm like, that is the lamest rose anyone has given anyone. But then they use it later on in the episode after it's bloomed, so I I guess I get why it was a bud, but like that would be like, listen, I'm happy to receive a flower, but like that was I'm like, you couldn't have picked a better one out of the bunch. Like, I know that's like a very tiny thing to like be like
it's valid.
annoyed
It's
by,
fair.
but I just couldn't get over like how lame of a flower it was.
Yep. Okay, so then they're like flying, they're in the shuttle, and then gasp, unidentified ship is emerging from the limb of the moon. I don't know what that means, but it could have just said the moon, I guess.
Oh no,
or
it was
a moon.
it's the
The
moon's
limb
leg.
of the moon?
Yeah,
The leg. What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. It's a stupid line.
yeah. Jeff was just making a goof.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by it either.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay, so then gasp again. The shuttle is being fired on. The shuttle is taking on extensive damages. Riker's like, we gotta get back to the ship. Like, we're not gonna do well with this. We gotta beam up. But Odan has also been hurt, and he's like, no, I will die if we have to be transported. And Riker's like, well, I guess I'm bringing it in manually then. Like, pray for us, thoughts and prayers. So then they get back to the ship, and Dr. C takes a look at Odan's injuries, and he's got like a really bad head injury, but he also has a parasite, and his stomach starts to move around again. Super chill, not fucking creepy and weird at all. And so twist, Odan is the parasite. He's from a member. He's from the race the Trill, where they have the body, which is the host, and the I keep wanting to call it a symbiote, which like it finally makes more sense of of Venom, but
Yes.
Okay,
that's
fair.
not what it's called in this. But maybe
Symbiote.
I'll just call it that.
I think they do call it that. Don't they call it the symbiote?
No, they called it the symbiotant. It's like SYMBIONT.
They're inconsistent
Oh, the
with it in this
symbiote.
episode.
Oh yeah.
For the record, just like without spoiling anything, the Trill are used again in Star Trek, to much better effect.
Yeah, they're a little bit different, and they sort of what's the word for it? They
retcon it, like
they
what
retcon it a bit,
yeah.
and they figure out the race a lot more. Like
yeah.
yeah.
Because the thing is that their presentation in this episode is to serve the story of the fact that there is this thing in him. It's like it's really only something you could do in sci-fi. But when they were trying to think of, okay, well, we want to reuse this species, but we need them to have a bit more of like a racial character to them. We can't just do it this way because a lot of these things were things that would not make a lot of sense for serving us telling stories with them as much as just using them to serve one story. So they changed a bunch of it. And that's fine.
They figured out the society a lot more.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, that's fine. That's not a problem. It's just it just means that this episode is inconsistent with the rest of them, which, I mean, that's kind of how it goes with Star Trek very often. They'll introduce something and they'll like, oh, we want to use that more. Well, let's make it better now.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. C is to reach out to the Trill for them to send a replacement body because this one is dying. So rip to that great hair. And they, I wrote, make sure the host is just as foxy with good hair. And honestly, yeah, they did.
Yeah. Even though their acting was super stiff.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's also not quite to Dr. C's taste.
Yeah.
So Odan's body, he dies, but like the parasite part is in stasis. Oh god, it's so gross. So they're like, okay, we'll keep him in there until the new host arrives in 40 hours. Then we learn that, like, because initially they're like, oh, your father did such a great job with, like, the last agreement. And then it's revealed, no, that wasn't his father. It was just him in a different body. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. They're like, no one will admit responsibility. No, wait. Does anybody even... Okay. Nobody will admit responsibility for the shuttle attack. Does anyone ever admit it?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
As far as I remember, no, they never figure out who actually did it.
Yeah,
No.
that's wild. They just like completely forget about it. So because they need to go back to the meeting, though, they're like they need kind of a body sooner than 40 hours. So Riker volunteers to be the host in the meantime, basically, so they avoid war.
Yeah.
But then like Riker apparently needs to be awake during the surgery, which is because like the medic, like if they knock him out, the medication could interfere with like the parasite, which seems to do all the work itself. But why did they? Okay, here's the thing. They had the parasite in a glass globe basically beside Riker's head, in which so he could see what it looked like before they like put it in his stomach. And also, that was a bad representation of Riker's stomach. I do not believe for one moment that would be Riker's like torso. Not hairy enough.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
That like I didn't for 1 second be like,
Well,
nope. That,
okay. Maybe.
Like I assumed it wasn't the actor, but like
Yeah.
no. But like to start.
Maybe
but
they
I do
shaved
not.
it for surgery.
I don't.
That is a thing that happens.
No, I know that, but I do not believe that would be Riker's.
Yeah. I doubt that was their intention.
Yeah, this is a different torso.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, Riker is awake. They just sort of cut him open and just like drop
Yeah.
the parasite in, and they're like, "Do your work, girl. Like connect, I guess." It's terrible.
Because the symbiote is like just this big slug thing, so they just let it slither in.
It kind of looks like if the hungry caterpillar had like a brain attached to the ass.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, okay, then they like sew him up. By sew him up, I mean laser him up, and then just like let him sit for a bit. And then he wakes up and he calls Dr. C Dr. Beverly. And we're like, uh-oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then Riker then has to like be like, listen, I'm really Dan, blah, blah, blah. But also, okay, tiniest side note. This was Riker's best look. Riker looked so good in this blue outfit.
Yeah.
This is, if they could just let him, he should just always be in blue. But this was just such a good like look. This was just good color, just a good outfit for him. A+.
Yeah.
A++.
They keep like
fantastic.
Whenever he doesn't have to be in uniform, they keep putting Jonathan Frakes in blue, and it's a good decision.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
but I
just
like
looks
the
incredible.
darker blue.
Yeah.
I do like because they've put him in like lighter blues, but I like this darker kind of like royally navy blue. I think that was like that's a good like shade for him. I like it. So okay, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to call the Riker Odan combo. Or initially
Rodan?
I called it Rodan. That's actually pretty good. Initially I wrote Riker cosplay, but I don't think that's correct. But Rodan's not bad. Okay, maybe I'll go with Rodan.
Rodan's also the name of a character from something. I don't remember what.
It does sound mildly familiar.
Yeah.
Rodan. Okay. Well, okay, for this sake, Rodan will be
Yeah.
Riker Odan. Yeah. So then, oh god. So like Dr. C
Oh,
okay, so they
sorry.
send Dr. C to what?
Rodan is a kaiju. It's like a Godzilla monster.
Oh.
Yeah.
Party.
It's like a big pterodactyl thing.
Yes.
Oh, party. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so then like they send Rodan to like Odan's quarters, and they're like, and Dr. C will go after him, but Picard looks pissed, and I'm like, honestly, Picard,
Yeah.
stay pissed at this point because it's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, because now Odan has Riker's looks.
Yeah. Like, okay, I think I've said this before. Like, Riker's not really my type, but at
Yeah.
the same time, like, damn it. Like, what?
Yeah, I think his yeah, because Riker is like, he's a handsome man, right?
Yeah,
But I think his
yeah.
personality adds a lot.
Yeah, there is a moment, okay, I'll talk about it later, when there is like a little bit of Riker in there, and that like Picard points it out, that I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, so Oh yeah, okay, Riker, okay, Rodan keeps looking at Dr. C, and I just kept screaming no.
Yeah.
Like, stop. You can't, you guys, you can't, you just like, please just don't do anything. And then Rodan is like, it's me, and I love you, and I didn't say anything because it is normal for me that I'm the two-parter. So you just like,
But you knew to keep it secret.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, so it's so secret that you, and it's so normal that you just regularly check your stomach to like watch it move.
Yeah.
That's super chill and normal. Yeah, that's cool. So just is all like very weird coming from Riker. And then like Troy and Dr. C have like a chat in 10 forward. And Dr. C's like, listen, my first love was Stefan. He was a soccer player. And she was 8 and he was 11. And before she revealed the age thing, I legit was like, oh God, where's she going with this? Because she starts saying, oh, and we had children and twins and this. And I was like, is she married before Jack?
Yeah.
Nope.
'Cause
Then
she
she's like,
describes her
I
whole
was,
life.
yeah. And she's like, no, I was 8. He was 11. I was like, oh, bro. Okay. So then Dr. C goes, I loved Odan. I'm sure of it. I had no doubts, no fears. But what was it that I loved? His eyes, his hands, his mouth, they're gone. If that was all it was, I should mourn him and go on. But it was more than that. I felt completely free with him, unguarded, at ease with myself. There was so many things that made him special to me. And where are they? Are they still here, alive and Will Riker? And I was like, listen, Dr. C, as much as I want you to be happy, I don't think you should find out. I think you should just leave it. And then Rodan comes in and Dr. C's like, shit, keep talking to me. I don't want to see him. I don't want to look. I don't want to acknowledge. And damn, he's like looking at her with such longing. And I was like, nope. Someone lock him in a room. Lock him in a room, please. Because like, this is bad. And then Troy kind of takes this conversation in a different direction. She's like, the first man I ever loved was my dad. And I was like, okay, not sure this is the same kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But like, I get where you're going, but not sure this is like the same. Because then Troy's like, listen, he was great. There's stuff. But like, you know, then I lost him. And I was like, okay, but this is like very different. This is very different contexts. And so Troy goes, if you feel those things from the man we know as Will Riker, accept them, accept the love. And I'm just like, but this is temporary.
Yeah.
They're waiting for another body. Can nobody keep it in their pants for another few? It's less than 2 days.
Yeah.
No,
When
they
we
can't.
started it, they were like, it's 40 hours.
Yeah,
This point, we're like a good part into like the day. So like, you don't have to wait that much longer. Can you not just like keep it professional in the meantime?
No.
Yeah,
I
everyone knows this is temporary. Like, this is a thing they knew going in. And it's like, maybe you shouldn't fuck around with Riker's body without his consent.
Yes.
Like, he consented to this transfer, but like, probably not to fuck Dr. C.
I was screaming. So my roommate, who I share a wall with, I'm sure heard me screaming at one point in this episode, because everybody's basically convincing, well, except for someone. No, just really Troy's like, it's fine. Like, take, like, you know, listen, like, it's the love, and take the love where you can get it, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, no, Troy, no. Like, she does not need to have a physical relationship with him for these 40 hours. Just like, wait. Just wait.
Hold off.
Oh, I thought you were like, you were like, wait.
Oh, no.
As you were talking.
Oh, yeah.
Hold off.
I thought you needed a sec. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, it's very bad.
Are we sure that this episode isn't a sequel to the Naked Now, where they're just like, so horny that they can't stop themselves?
But no, this
Maybe
is
the
worse.
symbiote makes you super horny.
Yeah, that
This
could be.
is- That it's bad. Okay, so then they like sit down and like, okay, you have to prove, how did you like that you're really Odan? Oh yeah, they're sitting with the like leaders of the Alpha and Beta Moon. And Odan's like, oh yeah, I remember all you people or whatever. And it was like your grandmother or aunt or some lady in your family. And then they're like, well, how was the compromise reached the last time? And he was like, well, listen, we did a wife swap.
Yeah.
Basically, he was like, we did a trading places situation for a week. And then they saw how each other lived. So then they're like, okay, let's make a deal. I was like, that is the most game show response.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Incredible.
This episode really wants to be profound, I think. Like, a lot of things in the script are like, no, this is definitely a deep idea. And then they go about it in the most, like, ham-fisted ways.
Yeah. So, okay, then, like, they're like, oh, can you prove again? Because all this information is available in general. And then Rodan's like, oh, yeah, there was, like, an assassination plot that was prevented. And they're like, okay, we need, like, 8 hours to make a decision if we're going to, like, let you leech it. I'm like, 8 hours? You're gonna take 8 fucking hours to decide if this person's gonna, like, do your, like, help with the agreement? That's fucking wild. Mm-hmm. So then, what did I write? I wrote, Picard gets update from Dr. C and his eyes soften. Is this when she goes and he gives her a hug? I don't remember. She's, like, upset. And then he's like, it's okay. Oh, no, maybe that's later. Maybe that is later. Anyways, so then, like, so then Rodan goes to see Dr. C, and he's like, let me touch you. And then she's like, he goes for the kiss, and she's like, no. And I'm like, good. And then Picard smiles because, oh, okay. Man, I did a mess with my notes. Okay, so then, like, Rodan and Picard have a chat in Picard's ready room. And he says something. And also, I felt that also, where he, like, says, like, a line, and then Picard smiles because he's like, you sounded just like Will Riker. And I'm like, I felt that also. But it was, honestly, it was the smile. Yeah. It was like, he said the line, and then he did this smile, and I was like, oh, that's a very Riker-y sort of, like, response.
Which I just have to mention that Jonathan Frakes does an excellent job in this episode. I think acting,
he's great.
Yeah,
because you can tell where Rodan ends and Riker begins, which is very impressive.
Okay, so now we have 18 hours until the new host arrives. So only 18 hours. Mm-hmm. So we're in Dr. C's quarters, in which she has art of space on the wall, which made me laugh. Because in case you don't see enough space, here, have some inside too. So she's smelling the flower, the little flower from before. And then Rodan comes in, and what the fuck did I write? Oh, okay. No, he hasn't come in yet. He's in his own thing, and he asks for a drink. I don't know why they showed this, but Rodan asks for a drink from, and then it's like, we don't know this drink. Do you have the chemical compound? And he's like, never mind. And I'm like, wait, what? Why did we see this? And then Dr. C goes to see Rodan, and they are they're in, like, his room, I think.
Yeah,
and
they're in his quarters.
Very, very close to each other. And I was like, nope. No, walk away.
Yeah.
This is bad. And then Rodan is like, I want you, and if you're going to leave, do it now. And then Dr. C is like, I'm not leaving. And then they kiss. Yeah. And I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
On such a level I cannot explain. This is Wonder Woman 2 all over again.
Yeah.
Oof.
And I was like, okay, listen, oof. I love Wonder Woman #1, great movie. Wonder Woman 2, trash.
Yeah.
And this is like how do people, okay, I was screaming at my computer at this point. I just kept screaming, no. Okay, how much of Riker is conscious when Odan is in there?
Yeah. See, they don't make it clear.
No,
but
because it seems like not a lot in this episode.
Yeah.
It seems like very
true.
little. Because if so, Dr. C, you fucking fucked Riker without his consent.
Yeah.
I can't believe we have to do another fucking content warning of this episode.
Because, like...
like, you guys, I don't understand. Oh my God, I hate this. I hate this so much.
The Trill later on like in DS9, which is where they come back, the symbiote and the host body sort of combine into like a unique being, like their
Yes.
personality and stuff, and they inherit the memories and stuff of the previous one. In this episode, it's implied that the symbiote is everything, and that the host is like, there's nothing of the host.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Yeah.
not that
yes.
there's nothing, but there's very little of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
either way,
this is
it's like
very
yeah,
bad.
Yeah, it's like
And
they
'cause-
completely
Like,
Yeah.
they don't really explain why people are willing to do it that well in the first place, so...
yeah.
It just was very. I got very angry and just like.
Because they assaulted Riker. They used his
Yeah.
body without his consent.
And she said earlier, she's like, "Oh, I see it like Riker as like a brother. I don't see him anything more." And then she's like, "Fuck that!" But like, I hate it. And he gets no say on whether or not he wants to fuck Dr. C.
Yeah. And why
it
is
just-
everyone else like, oh yeah, you should totally just like be with Riker? When it's like, has no one considered that like, hey, it's fucking, that might be weird for her, like, despite
And for him, because
Yeah.
she fucks him and he does not like have any I don't know what kind of memories he has at this. They don't
yeah, they never
really
mention
say.
that it's like, hey,
No, they
Riker
don't.
at this point doesn't have a say in all this. Like, if
Yeah,
if this
and
was
Troy encourages this,
Yeah.
sort of, and I was like, Troy, sort of like of all people, I would have sort of thought like, this is Riker, who's like
yeah,
important to her in like a whole different way, and I'm like, this is just very bad. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's like Picard seems like the only one who's against all of this, but it's really just because he's jealous.
yeah,
But like, it's not so much about Riker. But ugh, Christ, this is just I was so mad.
yeah.
I'm still mad.
You want something
Like,
to make this a little bit worse? The original concept for this episode did not involve Beverly at all.
Oh, what was
The
that
entire-
about?
No, the original concept of the episode was just about the war negotiation stuff. Mm-hmm. It was just that. And then they were like, you know what? This is a little dull. Let's like, I like the concept. Let's find a way to involve the crew, and this is what they chose to do.
I do not like the way they involved the crew.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, I just didn't need to involve Riker in this. Like, Dr. C's plot, it was like fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I hated that how they put like Dr. C, you couldn't keep it in your pants for another like few hours.
The
like, you
doctor's
did not.
plot honestly could have gone straight to what do you call it? To the character switching from one body to another. It didn't have to involve Riker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
They
I
did that
will
for more
like
drama.
when we get to like who the actual host is, I have a whole thing to say.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Holy shit.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah.
The director disagrees with you on that. I
Yeah.
already know what you're going to say, but they
Oh,
disagree.
Christ. Yeah. Okay,
Anyway,
so I
we'll
guess
get to
back
that
to
in a
the
minute.
recap stuff. So yeah, they fuck. I hate it so much. I'm angry.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hey, at least
Okay.
the show assaults the men and women equally. I'm sorry, that was too dark, I think.
Oh my god.
That was like ugh. I mean that as a joke for anyone not sure. Like, I'm not serious about that, but fuck. The show is wild.
Yeah. Okay, so now we cut to the next day, and Riker is like, Rodan's not doing well. Why do I feel like Rodan is something from Lord of the Rings? I'm thinking of Rohan. Never mind. Okay, yeah, he is not doing well, and like, Odan is being rejected by Riker's body, and it's like getting almost basically to the point where it's going to be harming Riker, so like Riker's body. So Dr. C agrees that like at the end of the day, once like the agreement has, you know, come together, then she'll take him out. She'll take Odan out regardless. So like, just doesn't matter what happens to him.
Mm-hmm.
Odan like wants Riker to be okay, so he's like, get me out of here,
Yeah.
save Riker, which I like.
Yeah.
For once, Odan is taking into consideration Riker.
Yeah.
Fuck's
Seriously.
sake.
They should have, I think, like, what would have solved this if it was ambiguous whether this was going to be permanent or not. Because if it was like,
yes.
if this might have been, like, we know as the audience that it wouldn't have been, like,
course, yeah.
permanent, but, like, within the universe of the story, if it was like this, like, Riker might be Odan forever, then I could see, like, this, like, maybe it would be okay because Riker volunteered to become Odan, right? But yeah, it's fucked the way they have it.
Yeah. Okay, so then like Dr. C meets with Picard, and Picard says, "Whatever else I may be to you, I'm your friend. I can only imagine what you're going through, and I want you to know I'm here." And then Dr. C hugs him, and I was like, why can't we just do this relationship? Like, I don't...
Yeah.
Like, stop giving us relationships we don't want and give us a relationship we do want.
Yeah.
Like,
Give us a
stop
consensual
being cowards.
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Maybe that's why they can't do it, because they're like, we can't have a consensual relationship.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, so then cut to the talks have been going on for 6 fucking hours. Oh, so the host is gonna arrive. Oh, is not gonna arrive for another 9 hours because there's like some delay or difficulty. They're not really specific. But then the door opens and Rodan looks fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
And goes, "It was worth it," and then collapses. And I was like, honestly, if those were the last words, that would be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
They are not the last words. So Dr. C removes Odan, and Riker will be okay. So then Picard crouches down to look at the Odan, the parasite, and he's just, the way he says it, he goes, "How is Odan?" It sounds like he's like joking.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like he's being like condescending a little, or just like, "How is Odan?" But he's in stasis. That's how he is.
Yeah.
So Dr. C decides to wait until the host gets there. And of course, Odan's new host is a woman.
Whoa.
Plot twist.
At like
So-
with 2 minutes left in the episode.
Yeah.
So you know
so
that's gonna go somewhere deep.
Yeah. And so, yeah, operation goes well, and then Dr. C is in her office, and new Odan comes in. Also, nice dress.
Yeah.
This new Odan is very pretty, and got a nice outfit.
Yeah. I was trying to come up with like a she Odan, like she Dan or something.
Shodan.
Lady Dan.
So then, like, new Odan is just like, "I still love you, even though, and I'm a lady." But Dr. C's like, "No homo."
Yeah. Basically. Well, here's the thing. In the episode
Christ,
that's...
Dr. C.
But here's the thing. Like, in the episode, that's not... Here's the thing. It's like, it's... If you're not attracted to women, like, that's perfectly fine. But she makes a bullshit excuse of, like...
Yeah.
Like, oh, like, I just can't get used to this, like, you know, constantly changing bodies and
like-
stuff like that. And it's like... But...
Dr. C. Oh,
But
it's such bullshit.
Yeah, because like this isn't, and she's like what will your next body be and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
she
And it's like,
wasn't worried about that when she was fucking Riker.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's like,
'cause
and
she-
you
yeah,
knew the Riker was going to be temporary. Like you knew,
Yeah.
like this is
Because like
a more
she's
permanent
there's
solution.
a lot of uncertainty. Yeah, she's like, there's a lot of uncertainty until like, as long as you'll be in a host. Maybe perhaps someday our ability to love won't be so limited. Just Dr. C is missing out.
Yeah,
The director disagreed that this moment had anything to do with homophobia.
here's the thing. Don't entirely.
It's like it's like
it's-
yes and no.
Yeah,
It's
yes
sort of
and
like-
no, because here's
Yeah.
I think the homophobia is in the writing and in the
Yes.
fact that they don't address the obvious elephant in the room.
Yeah, I
like
agree with that.
like in the episode she's just like they don't deal with the fact that it's like she's a woman, so I'm just sorry. I'm not attracted to women.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Dr. C. I blame the writing and the thing. Like, the thing is like, this would have been such a... Okay. Because I'm very annoyed, obviously. But, like, and I happen to know that Star Trek, up until pretty recently, has been really terrible about, like,
Acknowledging that gay people exist.
yeah, acknowledging gay people, dealing with queer stories, and all that jazz. However, this would have been such a good concept for the episode of if the host was there immediately and she had to deal with, like, her feelings in someone she wasn't attracted to. You know, if the whole episode had been about her trying to deal with the fact that, like, Odan is a woman now, then, like, I think that would have been a much more interesting episode.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the
her
fact that-
reasons were just felt really weak.
Yeah, and the fact that this happened, like, 2 seconds before the episode ends, and then they don't even acknowledge, like the audience understands the problem, like, but just that they don't acknowledge within the episode that it's like, sorry, I'm not attracted to women. Like, I'm sorry, I can't love you as a woman. Like, that...
Yeah.
That's just bullshit to me. Like...
Yeah, if they just had her just admit, like, listen, this is not gonna roll because this is the issue, but instead it's just that, like, it's such a weak argument and excuse that she makes of why they can't, because then she does say, like I will never forget you, and, like, I'll, like, always think of you, or whatever, or, like, I'll always whatever, and just this. Dr. C goes, I will never forget you, but then Dr. C's face is like, I hope I forget this immediately.
Yeah. Because,
like, what a wild way to end the episode.
Yeah.
Well, fun fact, it's never referenced again.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Because the thing is that, like, you need a little bit of homophobia in order to understand what the problem is.
Yes.
You know?
It
Or
just
at
felt
least
like
understanding of homophobia.
it did feel like very, like, middle-aged, like, white lady homophobia in the way
Yeah.
that, like, won't acknowledge that there's a problem, but, like, very, like, kind of, like, underhanded. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think there's, like, malice necessarily here from Dr. C, but it's very, like, we're not going to address the actual issue, and but still be kind of, like, not cool
Yeah.
about it at the same time.
Yeah,
And
it was very like this is only homophobia in that it is normal to not be attracted to a person of the same sex.
Yeah. It's just the dishonesty that makes it
Yeah.
homophobic to me. And
Yeah, I agree with
transphobic low key also. Because the Trill later on sort of, like, become sort of a trans allegory. More, not purposefully, but, like, it's very easily interpreted that way, and audiences have interpreted it that way. In any case, yeah, it's just the dishonesty of, like, being like, oh, I don't know if I can handle you switching bodies all the time. And it's like, that's not the problem. Because you were totally cool with,
Yeah.
like, let's see who his new body is, right?
Yep.
And also totally cool with it going to Riker for, like, 40 hours?
Yeah.
Not even 40 hours? Like,
Yeah, the problem is that the host is a woman, and like I said, it's not homophobic to not be attracted to a woman, and I don't think it's necessarily, like, homophobic to be like, I'm sorry, I just am not attracted to you anymore. Yeah, I still have strong feelings for you, but, like, I can't romantically be with you anymore.
Like we also have to put this in the context of something being made in the early 1990s.
Oh yeah,
we don't.
for sure.
no, we don't.
I mean,
No,
It
I
still
just
pisses
mean
me
in terms
off.
of making an episode that said not being attracted to someone of the same gender is totally cool. probably would have been interpreted negatively by the gay community then. It would look like, now it would look like, okay, yeah, that makes complete sense. But at the time, there would have been a lot of knee-jerk reaction because you told a gay story only to take that concept and not do anything positive with it.
Yeah, to just be
at a time
like,
when they were seeking a much more acceptance than they have today.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. It would be like, you know, oh, you made this whole like setup of this potentially gay relationship, and then ultimately it's like, no, I can't get over the fact that you're a woman, which is like, yeah, that does suck. And yeah, I could see it being negatively.
And as I said, it would be better now than it would have been when it came out in 1990.
Yeah. I just, like, they could have, there were so many more options for this episode than what they did.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, very true.
Here's the thing, it was the 90s, so they probably couldn't do this, but it's like, what if, like, Dr. C was cool with it, you know?
Yeah,
Or
that's true.
what would have happened if they put Odan in a not attractive man?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been
What would
interesting.
Dr. C done then?
Yeah.
Because he went from like OG Odan, who like doesn't do much for me, but he had nice hair, to Riker, to this lady. So like, what if they put him in a
But here's the thing.
I don't know.
It was in the body of a child.
50, I don't know, like 70-year-old man, or yeah, what did they put him in a child? Holy shit, yeah, like
That's something
or-
Star Trek deals with at one point.
Because I'm thinking more about it, and I think they still could have done the same woman thing and not have it be negative, because it could have been like, because the episode could have been people convincing Beverly that it's like, you know, should it really make a difference that they're a woman now, like they're the same person, you know, as before.
Yeah.
And then ultimately she's like, I'm sorry, I can't get over it. And then she still gets to say the line, like, maybe our ability to love won't be so limited in the future, which applies to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good line.
Yeah. And I think they did low key, like, mean for it to apply to, like, same-sex relationships and
Yeah, I
prob-
think so too.
probably not transness, because that wouldn't have been in like it wouldn't have been as much in mainstream consciousness at that point,
Yep, that's true.
but it does apply, because like that is an issue that pops up sometimes. It's like when people like realize they're trans and they're already in a relationship with someone who's like whose sexual orientation like would implied be altered by the gender of their partner, right? Like if you were in a same-sex relationship and it's like now that person is going to be in like a straight appearing relationship, and you know, vice versa, if you're in like a man-woman deal and then it suddenly becomes a same-sex relationship, it's unfortunately like an issue that comes up, and it's like a lot of times like people are like, you know what, I fell in love with this person and they're still the person I love, so I'll stick with it. And then
That's
a
true.
lot of other times people are like, I'm sorry, I just can't, like, I can't get over like that you're a different gender, sometimes for homophobia reasons, and sometimes it's like I'm just not attracted to you anymore as like you're, as what gender you are, you know, which is fucking sucks and is horrible, but
it does happen.
It
and
does happen,
It's not
yeah.
something we can control.
yeah. I forget where I was going with this, honestly. I forgot why I started talking about this.
Honestly, the way that I look at this episode is that it seems to have something that it wants to say, and it never really finds a good way to do that.
Yeah.
And because of that, it really does fall flat, because like the Trill are a good concept, and we do see Star Trek actually deal with them quite well in the future. But here, they're not using their idea well. It's a really neat idea,
Yeah.
but it's ultimately not doing anything other than playing with the heartstrings of one of the characters.
Yeah.
It really just felt like they were like, hey, we need an episode where Dr. C fucks and there's a twist. And
Yeah.
it just,
That's really what it is.
like, they can do better.
Yeah.
Picard's right there.
Yeah. And I
Give me what I'm asking for.
given what we know, like, because there's another episode later on that is like explicitly deals with like queer issues, and given what that episode had to go through in order to air, because it's
Yes.
not, spoiler alert, it's not a good episode, for many reasons.
This is in TNG?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's, in general, I think it's like just a shitty episode, and also
It fails in its messaging.
it fails in its messaging, which is not the writer of the episode's fault, because it got changed a lot. So
Oh, yes.
given that, they probably, even if they'd wanted to tell like a gay story or whatever, probably wouldn't have been able to, like with this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very fair point.
But it doesn't stop me from being disappointed, because the like Trek, like, consistently until recently fails queer stories.
Yes.
Although there is one in DS9 that does a really good job. Unfortunately, it's a story that ends in pain, which up until
Yep.
recently was pretty standard fare for queer storylines.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just like, so there's like, it's like we go, so with this episode we go the whole episode and it's like, wow, what the fuck, like, you know, dealing with all these consent issues with Riker's body, and then like in the last 2 seconds they're like, and homophobia. And they just really got it to squeeze, they really needed to squeeze that in there.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very important point.
And it sometimes it feels like they needed a way out. They needed a way for like Dr. Crusher to be like, okay, yes, I'll love this man, you know, I'll love this person even in this new body. Like, they needed an excuse for her to be able to fuck Riker, and then at the very end be like, no, actually this isn't going to work out. And they're like, the only way they could think to do that is like, oh, well, obviously if the new host is a woman, then that, you know, that's obviously not going to happen. So we didn't have to think about that. Meanwhile, it brings all this baggage. Yeah, sorry.
It's basically like scapegoating
yeah. Yeah.
in the wildest way possible.
As usual, I get heated about this and I forget what I'm talking about.
No, it's a valid. I'm pretty angry about this too.
Yeah. And honestly, like, it did take me, like, it wasn't until after I finished watching the episode that I'm like, wait a minute, what they did to Riker was really fucked up. Like,
That took you a while.
Yeah, it's insidious because, you know,
The episode doesn't frame it that way. That's the thing.
Yeah, the episode doesn't frame it that way, and unfortunately, that reaction is not as automatic with men, which is like,
That's true, yeah.
you know, something that I have to work on and society has to work on, where it's like, wait a minute, this is pretty fucked up what we're doing to this guy.
I think this show has kind of, as much as I enjoy TNG, they are real fucking casual about assault.
Yeah.
They do not think about what they're putting on screen and what, like, because I think back to the episode where Riker was accused of assault, and that there's no conclusion to that episode when it comes, because Troy says like that woman is not lying,
Yeah.
but like they just kind of left it. It's like this is totally secondary. This is not the priority to them.
Yeah.
The violence, the murder mystery was the priority, but the like assault, who the fuck cares apparently? And then in this, it's about Dr. C's love story, but Riker is assaulted. If I mean, I'm assuming they didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, I think
I don't
like
think it occurred to them at all.
A lot of
that
these,
this is-
a lot of these things boil down to, I think, like that they just even didn't think that this was assault, which like is pretty, like, because I'm not making excuses, but like this is a very like prevalent attitude. Then I think a lot of these things are like relatively
fair,
recent.
To be fair,
Yes.
this is something that happened. This is something, like, I mean, like, I guess, well, I already said Wonder Woman 2. This is essentially what happens. And that came
Yeah.
out, a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Like, well, spoilers, I guess. Don't go see Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah.
Just rewatch Wonder Woman 1 again.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good. In Wonder Woman 2, so, like, okay, spoilers, I guess, for Wonder Woman 1. Chris Pine dies at the end of Wonder Woman 1, and they were like, okay, but we need to bring him back for Wonder Woman 2. So there's like a wish thing, and then he takes over another man's body.
Yeah.
Where like we see him as Chris Pine, but he's really this other actor's body. And so then him and Diana fuck. It's someone else's body.
Yeah.
And we know he's not conscious in there, because at the end of the movie, we see the body out and about, and he doesn't know Diana, and
Yeah.
she's just like, oh, hey. And I'm like, nope, back the fuck up. And this movie only just came out a year or two ago or something, and it did not even occur to them that this was assault.
Yeah.
To be fair, the movie was also kind of universally disliked.
It was a bad movie.
Yeah.
But like, yes, the story also, like the main plot of it was also pretty stupid. But this was such a huge thing that like the filmmakers did not even occur to them this was assault.
Yeah.
They were just like, well, we got Chris Pine back, so reunion sex. But like, that was not necessary.
Yeah. And like, did they need, because they could have done this storyline of just like, he's just back. Like, why did he have to take over someone's body? Like,
Or just don't bring him back. It takes away the whole emotional stakes of the first one. It was so
Yeah.
sad when he died in the first one.
also that.
There's
like, why
no
does he
reason
need
to
to
bring
come
him
back?
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there, like, this is not like a completely, like, this is still something they're doing in film.
Yeah,
where,
yeah. This is
like, it's like, have we learned nothing about consent? Have we truly learned nothing?
yeah. It's unfortunate that like still when it comes to men, we're especially behind in like recognizing and pointing out like assault with men.
Yep.
So it's like, yo, that's pretty fucked up what happened there. And it's like, no, it's fine. It's really not fine, dude.
Yeah. Well, I think there was something I saw online recently that, was it Tucker Carlson or one of those idiots who was talking about something along the lines, I don't know if it was like recent, but I saw it recently, of like there was a kid, an elementary school boy was assaulted by his like 28-year-old female teacher, and they were like, well, listen, does it count?
Oh,
And
yeah.
so they
That's
were like,
always fucking
no.
so
And I'm like,
gross.
it's a child, it's an
Yeah.
adult. The gender doesn't fucking matter. Like, it's assault. If this somebody cannot consent, it's assault. Does not matter who the victim is, it's assault. If you cannot say yes, if you cannot legally say yes, and if you cannot verbally say, like, it's assault. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that hard. Like, it's not hard. Can you,
like, it's also like,
and it's
there-
still wild. This is a discussion.
he's a fucking child. Like, that always really disgusts me. Where
I might have gotten some of but I know it was like an underage
yeah.
boy and then
Yeah,
a female teacher or something.
That's
but
a
still.
thing that like happens a lot though when it comes out that like a older female teacher has assaulted a underage boy. And it's like, guys are always like fucking like, lucky boy. And it's like, no.
Yep.
No, he's fucking assaulted. He's a child.
Traumatized.
She's an
Yeah.
adult. It's messed up.
Like, adults, leave kids alone.
Yeah.
Just everybody leave everybody alone. Like, you have to fill out a form before you speak to another person.
Yeah, yeah.
Fill out one of those, like, I had to fill out a little quiz before going to an escape room for, like, COVID purposes. I think you should have to fill out one of those before
Yeah.
speaking to people now.
I think Dory, we might have had this discussion before, but it's like sometimes not for everything, but for this specific thing, I think sometimes I wish we could go back to the Victorian era where it's like you had to be like introduced to someone before you were allowed to talk to them.
Yes.
And like there was all these like really hardcore rules around like approaching someone in the street and stuff.
Yep, they did that in the Regency era too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Don't talk to strangers.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
don't assault children, maybe.
Yes. Just, like, leave people alone. Holy shit. Let us just, like, live our lives without,
Yeah.
like...
It's I think you've said this before, but it's weird how often this has been an issue on Star Trek.
Yeah, like... someone needs to sit down. All of the writers... And even Jean from the grave.
Yeah.
I don't care. Do a seance. I don't care how it's done. And literally explain. I don't care if they understand it now, but they need a refresher. Or just every single writer.
Yeah.
Let's get this hammered into every single person who wants to put out, like...
Which is
maybe
so
taking
weird
this a little
because
too
like
far. But everybody needs to understand... Listen, not even everybody.
Yeah.
Fucking everybody needs to understand consent. And if someone says no, back the fuck up.
yeah.
Or just fuck off. Just stop being bad. Just, like, leave people alone. Children are at school first to learn, not to have their childhoods ruined and more trauma. Like,
Yeah. And like if a lack of a no is not a yes. You
Right.
know, the absence of no is not yes. So like don't like enthusiastic consent.
Yes. We believe in that.
Yeah. And don't use people's bodies without their own knowledge. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's something actually I hate a lot in TV shows and movies and books. When someone is sleeping and someone goes to kiss someone on the lips when they're asleep. They're asleep, bitch. Don't kiss people when they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Let people sleep in peace, for Christ's sake.
And I have to admit that, like, there can be some gray area when you're in a relationship. Not that, like, you know, you're just entitled to someone's body and stuff like that. But, like, a kiss while you're sleeping is, like, I think that's fine if you're partners already.
Yes.
But don't kiss someone you're not in a romantic relationship already.
Yeah, I was reading a book where, like, this woman was traumatized and, like, freaked out and passed out. And this guy who was not in a relationship with her was like, oh, she looks so pretty while she's sleeping. And he kisses her and she wakes up screaming. And I was like, well, I think I've finished this book.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking... Yeah. Just don't... Listen, if you're partners, discuss with each other what you're okay with. If you are not partners... then fuck off.
Yeah.
Jesus. Ugh. Well, welcome to Consent Corner.
Yeah.
I guess let's move on.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, okay. I guess let's move on to standout lines and moments and stuff?
I like that we got a little Wes shout out, and it's good to know that he's topping his class.
Yeah.
I liked Riker in the blue outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that Data couldn't take a hint.
Yeah.
And they're like, Data's like, oh, we should talk about this. It'll only take 2 hours. And like, oh, sorry, Data, we got to deal with his headache.
Yeah. By boning it out.
Yeah. And I like that Picard got visibly jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, maybe you should do something about that, Picard, but I know you won't, so I'll just scream about it internally.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say one day, but I don't have faith. I can't assume that.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I really liked Jonathan Frakes' acting in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he did a good job of, like, being an actor and pretending to be someone else. And, like, you know, because that's not an easy thing to do where he lets Riker slip through. Mm-hmm. Like, that I think that takes some talent to do that. Where you can very distinctly be two different characters and kind of meld them a little bit. In a very purposeful way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I pointed this out a couple episodes ago. I think it was the Barclay episode, but it might have been a different one. I really love when actors have to play a character playing another character. Mm-hmm. I think that is, especially when they can let part of their own character's personality slip through. I think that really is like a triumph of acting. Where people have like really put themselves into that role extremely well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I will give credit for that. I also I kind of like Odan being a cheesy lamewad in their romance stuff. It is super cringe, I agree, but
it's cute.
I don't know. I think it's I think it's cute.
Yeah, I think so too. It makes me uncomfortable in the sense that I like have a dead soul, but it is cute. It is cute, but it is cringe.
Yes.
But you know what they say: don't kill the cringe, kill the part of you that feels cringy.
Cringed?
Yeah.
Ooh,
No,
what's
what's the saying again? It's like, don't kill the part of you that's cringe, kill the part of you that cringes. Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, that's all. Jeff, to your point about like liking when actors play as a character playing another character. That's why I always really like sort of body swap episodes and stuff.
Oh yes,
because it's
Yes.
always really funny to see people's impressions of each other's characters, and see who does a good job of it and who doesn't.
I really like there's a dumb Voyager episode where the Doctor and Seven have to switch places. And like it's a dumb episode, but God, I love the two of them acting as each other.
Yes. Also, they have a discussion about like consent in that episode, sort of.
They do.
Because the Doctor is in Seven's body, and I think he like flirts with someone or whatever. And then
no, it's because it starts off because he discovers that he can taste things.
Oh yeah.
And he starts like chowing down on a big fucking piece of cake.
Mm-hmm. No, but
yeah, it does extend beyond that.
Yeah, there's something else because he starts flirting with someone or whatever, and when they switch back, Seven is pissed because the one, I don't remember much about the episode, but I remember this line, and she's like, "You became aroused in my body." And it's
yes,
and she's
I
like fucking
that.
pissed about what he did when they swapped places. So they actually acknowledge how fucked up it is that what he did. Anyway, I believe now we move on to predictions for the next episode.
Excellent.
Yes. So the next episode, Dory, is called The Mind's Eye.
Oh boy.
And this is a Geordi episode.
Oh.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of those this season.
And Unfortunately, this is another someone's body used against their will thing.
Oh God.
Not in a sexual way. However, Geordi ends up under the influence of nefarious aliens.
Oh. Okay.
So who do you... It's aliens we've met before. Yeah.
Is it the goat one from season 1?
It's up to you to decide who's doing this and what do they want? What do they get him to do?
Okay. You know who I just thought of, but I was like, I don't know how they would be. We haven't seen the Ferengi in a long time. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how they would like control Geordi unless they've come up with something. I wouldn't put it past them to come up with something like that, but...
Mm-hmm. Remember, this is sci-fi, so they can come up with all kinds of tech and shit and, like, brainwashing maneuvers and whatever to do this
The
kind of thing.
Ferengi have also already brainwashed someone in TNG.
Oh, they did?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Picard.
remember with Picard.
Oh.
When they give him, like, the voices and stuff about his old ship?
Oh, is that the ball thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe it's the Ferengi. So he's under the influence to do nefarious things. Well, I guess because the Ferengi like hate them. Yeah, let's say maybe Geordi has like figured out. Maybe there's like a piece that like is pretty valuable to the Enterprise. That Geordi has sort of come up with. That would like fetch a lot of money elsewhere, and they're like, well, we can't take the one that they already have. No, this is already an episode where somebody makes Geordi make something, isn't it? Didn't we watch that something like that already?
Yeah, I think it was the one with the Pakleds.
Okay, never mind.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm okay. So I need to think of something else then. They just do the same plot.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe not the Ferengi. Maybe, actually, you know what? Maybe I'll stick with the Ferengi, but they just want like Geordi to like, they're angry maybe at Picard, and they control Geordi to like have him fuck shit up at like on the Enterprise, because like the Enterprise was going to like intervene with, they were trying to get something, and so they're like, or we could get the thing and delay the Enterprise somehow by having Geordi fuck around with shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they basically use Geordi to like pull a
Sabotage.
pull a heist on the Enterprise.
Yes. To sabotage.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, if you want to see if Dory's correct, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.